What if you wanted to 5x your English fluency in a matter of weeks? How would you even begin to do that? You'd probably have to really change your mindset, how you think about speaking and mistakes. That's what we're going to talk about in this video. In this video, I'm going to teach you how to change your mindset so that you can improve your English fluency much faster. So let's get started. What if you want to improve your English very quickly? That's a question that people ask me all the time. It's so slow. I want to improve my fluency faster, right? Great. Is there any way? Is it even possible? I think the answer is yes, except I think most people won't be able to improve their fluency, their overall English ability quickly because they're not willing to do the kind of crazy stuff that you have to do in order to unlock your brain, change your habits, set new habits, right? Learn from your mistakes, develop keen self-awareness, and actually start making real steps toward that natural, that fluent sound that you want. So, again, can it be done quickly? I think the answer is yes. If you want to do it quickly, I'm going to give you a few recommendations, okay? Oh, and one thing before I start with that, right? There's a tendency I've noticed among those who do not improve that there's this paralyzing fear of humiliation. If you fear humiliation, to be embarrassed when you speak, embarrassed in public, embarrassed to make mistakes, you are probably self-selecting out of the group of people who are going to improve more quickly. You have to get over that fear of public humiliation and embarrassment if you're going to make progress. Why? If you're afraid to try anything, then how can you learn enough to fail to learn from those mistakes to then improve? So the first thing you have to do is change your mindset, if you have this mindset, to be a mindset of try, fail as you go, figure it out as you go, and not worry too much about humiliation. Humiliation is something that's generally in your head. No one else really cares that much. So do not fear mistakes. Mistakes are your friend. You can use mistakes as powerful little tools to figure out what's better, right? If you never learn from mistakes, okay, that's bad. But if you can use mistakes as a tool for learning, that's good, right? And also remember that it's not this binary thing where I'm a good English speaker and you're not, and unless you're where I am or someone else is, then you're nothing. You shouldn't speak. Absolutely not. Nobody's perfect. Yeah, I'm an English teacher, but I say stuff that sounds dumb all the time. Everybody does. Nobody's perfect. Nobody has access to this perfect state of English. It's a gradient from zero English to very articulate to people who are really good speakers, and I wouldn't put myself even near the top. There are people who are really good at it, but if you ask them, they would say, oh, I'm not even close. There are these other people that are way more articulate and natural than me. So get this idea out of your head that it's sort of a good, not good situation. Or there's some state you're trying to reach where now I have arrived. No, also not that, right? It is a gradient. Okay, so now that we've got that out of the way, let's call them things that you can do right now. I'm going to give you a sort of guidelines step by step. So here we go, okay? First, I want you to identify your top 10 issues. If you don't know what those are, then your first step is to figure out what those are. Write those down like it's a checklist, okay? How do you figure those out if you don't already know? There are several ways to do it. You can, if you can identify them yourself, maybe record yourself speaking, get over that discomfort of watching yourself, in a recording or listening to yourself in a recording, or you might go out and take a few lessons with a teacher. Figure it out. It's up to you. Figure out what your top 10 issues are. Make them very specific. A top 10 issue wouldn't be like bad English. It would be like always mixing up tenses in the past, from simple past to present perfect and past perfect. Okay, that's a pretty good specific one. Okay, write down those top 10 things that are getting in the way of your fluency. Okay, number 2. Then practice speaking on your own, right? Often, every day, or at least whenever you can, and be consistent with it. Regularly practice, and I strongly recommend that you record that, because that's going to force you to get into this pattern, this thought pattern of having to form thoughts into speech. And if you get into that pattern and you start looking back at what you say, you're going to start building these little interesting feedback loops that help you not only identify what your issues are, but start to catch when you do them, then self-correct, try again, and again, you have these feedback loops that are very powerful. Okay, number 3, when you speak, slow down and do not fear pauses, okay? It's okay to speak slowly. There is this common misconception that fluency equals speed, and that is not the case. Fluency does not equal speed, and if you speak more slowly, then you're more likely to be able to hear things that you say, catch yourself, pause, fix that, and then keep moving forward. If you're able to pause and catch something and make a correction, then you're going to start fixing those habits. If you speak at lightning speed all the time, then it's hard to catch anything and it just flies right by. And then what you're doing is digging those bad habits that you want to correct, digging those in deeper so that it's more and more difficult to change those bad habits. Okay? Next. Oh, and by the way, on pausing, if you pause for 4 or 5 seconds, it's not a big deal. Just pause, think, and then speak. Okay? So don't be afraid of that. Make a deliberate effort to listen for the issues that you have. And since you've made a list of 10, then you're just listening for those 10. Okay? This is to help you narrow down the scope of your progress. You might have 10 new issues once you get to a certain point where the first 10 are really pretty close to being solved, right? So then you might have a new set. But if you're just focusing on 10 things, then you're not trying to think about everything at the same time, and that makes life a little more manageable when you're trying to improve your English, okay? So as you're speaking, hopefully you're recording yourself if you're doing it as an exercise. Listen for those 10 things. You should know those like the back of your hand. Know what those are, okay? So then you force yourself to pause and make a correction every single time. Every time you hear yourself say, oops, I accidentally used the present perfect tense. I probably should have used the past perfect tense there. Then make that correction. Every time you do that, you're building a new habit and breaking down the bad habit, the old habit. And the more times you do that, right, those 10 things are going to start to go down. 10 becomes 9, 9 becomes 7, 7 becomes 3. And before you know it, you've solved these 10 issues by developing that self-awareness, because you're speaking slowly and listening very carefully to what you say, right? Making self-corrections and then building stronger habits with those self-corrections. Okay? And if you just do that and you really do it, you're going to make a lot of progress. Now, most people are not going to do that, I know. But if you do that, you're going to make a lot of progress. A few key things to keep in mind, though. you want to be pretty brutally honest with yourself. If you can't be brutally honest with yourself, you're going to be too subjective. You're going to skip over stuff. You're going to say to yourself, okay, I'll skip it that time. That was fine. That was good enough. Be brutally honest. Okay, did you say it correctly or not? Are you using that the right way or not, right? You want to be as objective as possible, and I think recording is a great way to help you do that. As I said, you want to force yourself to overcome that fear of humiliation. If you find yourself not speaking at all because you're afraid of being judged, then you're never going to really improve. It's just not possible, because how can you if you're not willing to communicate, right? Things don't get better unless you do things. You have to develop that keen self-awareness, right? As I said, that self-awareness is going to be the tool that allows you to catch things as you're speaking, that then allows you to turn bad habits into good habits, that allows you to then make your list, check off the things on your list of 10 things you're working on, and then make a new list of 10 things you're working on. I have several things I'm working on. This is a gradient. This is a process that we're all in together. It's not, I'm over here, I'm the teacher, you listen to me, you're on your own journey. No. I think we're on the same path. I might have a few advantages because I was born in a native English-speaking country. I grew up in the language. But I would say we're on the same general path of learning how to express ourselves well, right? When we speak. That's what we're doing. And so what I'm telling you is stuff that I've figured out that has helped me improve how I communicate. And so I'm sharing that with you to help you along that path. And if you take a few of those steps, you're going to start seeing progress. And when you see progress, you're going to start building confidence. And as you build confidence, you're going to start identifying new challenges, and the landscape really starts to open up. But if you're trapped in a little shell of fear and anxiety about speaking, then it's unlikely that you're going to make progress, okay? So, if you have any questions about this, let me know. I would love to hear about where you are on your journey and what kind of commitment you have to yourself when it comes to making progress on your spoken English, okay? Again, any questions, let me know. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Also, get a free course in the links in the description.